Hey everybody, welcome to a new stream, or another stream anyway, Luculent Media. Today we're going to be doing a Filemaker series. We're going to kind of go into answering some questions. We had some viewers ask a question about autofill data. So what we're going to do is we're just going to create a brand new solution really quick for this, and we'll call this one autofill. That way I know I can get rid of it later, because they're pretty simple. It's a pretty simple stage. So what we're going to do is, the first thing that we need to do is we need to go into and manage our database, because we have to build a database before we basically do anything. So what we can do first and foremost is we can create an ID number, which would be a number, so Control N. And then we're going to do the date, and that will be a Control D. And then we're going to do some pretty basic things. We'll do name. Let's do first names and last names. That way we can kind of better. Valtharian, how the heck are you? It's good to see you. I don't normally have a lot of people show up at this show. They tend to watch it after the fact, but I like to live stream it. So I do see you there. Thank you very much for being here. So I think we're going to separate first and last name. So let's do last name. And that will be a text, so Control T. And then we'll do first name. And that'll also be a text. And then we've got to have the address of the person, because that's the big thing that they were wondering is, can we fill in the address, like the zip code for somebody? So we can do that. So the address, and then we'll do the city and the state and any other basic number or basic things that you want. So phone number, which would be Control N, so it'll be a number basically. And then what we're going to do is, I'd like to do this because there's a lot of techie stuff involved. You're absolutely right. There is a lot of techie stuff involved. There are some interesting things that we need to do. So I'm going to add something called a multi, and we'll just call it a multiplier. And it can be a number or a text. I'm personally going to just use a text. And you'll see where this is actually going to come into play later on when we get this system set up. And we're just going to do this really quick. So we'll do the save. What did I do? I got out of the dang database. Okay. And then what we're going to need is the zip code, because that's the one that everyone was wondering about doing, was the zip code, and that's going to be a number. And so we'll create that one. Now we have, if that's all the basic information that you want, that's fine. We should add probably a notes thing so that we can keep track of the notes, like when did I contact this person, when was the last time I contacted a person, or whatever the case might be. So we'll just add a notes section, and that'll be a Control T text, and we should be done at that point. So now what we're going to do is we need to, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger because I like bigger. Sometimes it's kind of hard to get a hold of them. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll just put our fields into our thing. So the ID, and we don't need, we could use, let's go ahead and use the little label part to it, so we kind of know what we're doing. ID, date, last name, first name, address. This is all pretty monotonous basically. It is weird that I watch you on stream on PS4 and I comment with my phone. Yeah, yeah, it is weird that you could do that. We'll do the address, the city, and the state. We're not going to do a lot of putting in a lot of data here. But what I'm going to do is basically show you how to autofill data into the system. And then we're going to put the zip code over here. And we could put in a notes field at the end, like that, if that's what you want to do. So the multiplier and the zip code, or the multiplier, we don't really need, and we don't really need the ID even at all. So we can actually hide that ID if we want to. We're just going to go ahead and close this out, and then we're going to have to click on our little show or hide status bar. So we now have the status bar. Let's do a new layout. And we're going to call this one line item. We're just going to do it for the computer. We want it to be a list. Yeah, I think, well, I don't know if I want to do a list or a table. That's the, I guess we could just do a list. We'll finish it. Move all of these down. It's been such a long time since I've actually done anything on Filemaker. You haven't fell asleep for 2 days. Hopefully you can go to sleep early. Well, hopefully you will go to sleep early today, Valtharian. Get a little bit of rest. I've got my mouse set at such an insane sensitivity. So the field picker, why is it doing this to me? Exit layout. Let's go back. Go back to autofill. So we'll start a new record, and the IDs, we can put the ID number in there, or we can have the ID automatic, and the date we can also have that automatic, the date of creation. But what we really want to do is let's go into our database really quick, and the ID number, we're going to double click on it, and we're just going to give it a serial number. And it's going to be on creation. And then the date, the creation date, so when it's created. And we'll call that good for now. We'll exit the layout. And so we'll create a few quick ones, and we'll tab through these. 1, 2, 3 first. And the city will be Noob. And state will be Wyoming, because that's the state that I live in. You're editing like 10 videos at once? Oh my goodness. And if we tab over here, we can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the zip code. And the notes, just whatever you want to add to it. And then we'll just create a new record. And we'll put in Smith. And tab Dawn. Tab 2, 3, 4 second. And Noob. Wyoming. Now you have to put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have to put in, this is data entry, so you have to actually put in the data entry that you want. And so this one we're going to add, we're going to have John Johnson. Darla. And they're going to be at 135 2nd Street. Noob. And this will be the last noob that we do, actually. So, but you have to put in, you have to have actual information that you're putting in there. New record. This one we're going to put in Henry. And the first name will be John. And the address will be 123 2nd Street. And instead of being noob, we'll do, I don't know, Forest. And the state will be Wyoming. And the zip code will be 12346. So we're just changing it, making it different. And now, now if we go into our, and we can add anything to this. So we can add like a picture if we wanted to, which would be a container field of the individual. So, and we can do all of that stuff. But what we're trying to do right now is we're trying to autofill data. So what we can do is we can create, if we edit the list, we can come into this, and we can go into our inspector. And what we can do is we can actually create this as like a drop-down list. And it's based on the names. So the last name we can have like a drop-down list. And it would be values from new folder. Use values from the field. And this, now it's my little field thingy showed up way the heck over there. I was thinking about a fake diss track on my friend. Oh, really? That would be kind of cool. Use values from the autofill field, and it will be last name. Include all values. Okay. 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 Now if we exit the layout and we create a new record and we come in here, we'll see that we have a Henry, a Johnson, and a Smith. Because remember, we have a lot of different Smiths, right? So if we just collect Smith, what happens? Well, it goes to the next name, and we don't know who that person was for their first, the first name of the individual. So we could also make that a drop-down list as well. So it would be like an autofill type scenario. But what we're looking for is if we find the right person, are we now, what do we want to do with that person? So that we can autofill the data in those fields. And I think, Valterian, that a fake diss track would be amazing. It would probably be a good thing. Well, how can we possibly achieve creating an autofill data thing when all we have is the last name? Well, what we can do is we can set a script trigger and then write a script that will actually find the name on a list. And so if we go to our new layout, the line item layout, of course we haven't done anything with it, so let's edit the layout. Actually, let's just do this. Let's do a new layout, and we're just going to call this the data, and we'll do do a list. Yeah, I should probably just do a list. And then what we want to do is we want to go to our field picker and we're going to start putting things in the field picker so we can have the ID, the date, the last name, which is kind of a big deal. So the last name, the first name. Actually, we should be doing this without the little deals. So I'm just going to delete that. Grab a hold of both of these, shift them all the way over. Because we can add that their names and all that stuff in the top. And then we can do the address. We'll put the address in here. And the city, the state, the zip code. And those only have to be as big as what you actually need to have this, so they don't need to be like giant. And if you want to do the state as just like, you know, Wyoming, the abbreviation for the state of Wyoming is WY. So you could do the abbreviation if you wanted to, and you wouldn't have to have that entire section that you'd have to fill in. And here's where you actually need the multiplier. But the multiplier is going to be a very small thing. I should have probably just would have done like a, as I'm thinking about it, of course, I'm just creating this off the top of my head. I didn't go through and do anything. I just, basically, I'm just creating this off the top of my head as we're talking, because I just had this question and I thought, geez, maybe I should answer this question. Okay, so now if we close it and we exit the layout, we'll have all of our information on here. So we've got Don Smith, Don and Dawn, and they both live in different places. Johnson, Henry, and then we have a new Smith here that we haven't filled any data in for. And let's call this Smith Frank. And Frank lives at 145 3rd Street. And Frank lives in Forest. And we could just tab over if we wanted to. Wyoming. And you can just add all this data in there. You can just add all the data in there that you want to. And because he lives in Forest, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. But let's say that these people that live in Noob, that one of these people actually has the zip code is different. So there's a bigger different filter, and I'm probably going to use auto-tune to make it a real diss track. Well, that's cool. You're having cheesesteak? Wow. I want some cheesesteak. Now, you guys make me hungry. It's amazing how you guys make me hungry. But let's say that in Noob, Wyoming, that there are actually a couple of different zip codes for that place, right? So what we would do is, in this particular sense, this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, let's just say. Now we have to actually start using the multiplier button. So if there is a city that has more than one that you're using, and I'm just going to do this real quick because I want to. Move it over here. We're going to move a multiplier over here next to the city. And grab all of these. And I'm going to line them up. So I'm going to go into my inspector. And we're going to go into the position. And we're going to line them all up on centers, on horizontal centers. Just because I'm kind of anal about that. Welcome to Noobville. Absolutely. See? That's the whole point right there. So exit the layout. Now, in this Noobville, we want to put, because there's several of them, several different ones, Noobvilles will need to have an X in the multiplier. So that way we know that there's more than one for that particular sense. See? Now we also need to, and this is going to be interesting, we need to add a button. So let's go back into here. And let's grab all of these and let's shrink them down just a little bit. Whoa, this should work just fine. And now we're going to add a button. And I bet you I probably had to do this on a portal or something, but okay. And so the button we're going to call select. And right now we're just going to tell it to do nothing, but I do actually want it to do something, and what it's going to do, and I'm not sure we'll actually be able to get to it in this video because this is a really short video because Josh has a doctor's appointment today. So he will be out for a little while. So we just wanted to, I just needed to create a quick little video on how to do this. But you'll be able to see what we're doing and you'll be able to know what's going on. Okay? So let's just go with that. Just go with that. So now if we exit the layout and we have all of these, and now we have the selector and we have these new things, what we can do is we can go back to our original page, our autofill page. And if we wanted to select somebody, what we would do is, if we were looking for a specific individual and we wanted to autofill the data, like all of the data, whether it was the last name, the city, the state, the whatever it was, right? So what we need to do is we need to go to the last name, and the last name is a drop-down list. So we're going to go into here and we're going to set a script trigger. And the script trigger is going to be welcome to Newville. Then it's Proville. Yeah, Proville, Utah. Oh, wow. Has anyone ever called you Tom instead of Tim? Yes, they've called me all kinds of things, including some names I am not going to repeat on channel, just so you know. So you can either do it on object enter, on object modify, on object save, on object exit, which means if you just click off of it, that it would do that. So we can, I think what we will do is we'll start with the on object enter. And then select a script. Well, we don't have a script, so we kind of need to add one, right? And we're going to call this new script autofill. And so the very first thing that we're going to want to do with this script is we can freeze the window if we want to, and that's kind of my very first thing. I always like to just freeze the window. I don't know why, but I just do. And then we need to set some variables. So the first variable that we need to set is going to be the last name. Let's just do last, and then I don't have to worry about it. And we're going to specify that, and it's going to be the last name. Okay. And then what we can do from there is, now that we have our variable, now what we need to do is we need to either perform a find. We need to go to a different place, blah 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 blah. So let's do that. Let's click. I'm just clicking in the white spot right there that you guys see. Okay, Tim, I won't ask, because anyway. Thank you very much for not asking me that question. But no, it's not. It's not bad. People have called me Tim, Timmy, Tim A, Timothy, which is fine. None of it bothers me. They've called me Tom, Tom A. It just depends on where in the world I'm at and what they decide to call me. Some people call me freak, and some people call me, you know, weird. You're just weird. No, I'm just Tim. But I am kind of a little weird. So what we're going to do from here is we need to, now that we have the last name, we need to figure out if it's more than the last, what, you know, like how many Smiths do I have, whatever the case is. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to, we need to do a control. So we're going to go to someplace, right? So let's go to layout. And the layout that we want to go to is the data layout. And then what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to perform a find. So we're going to want to see what's going on, what we're doing. So the very first thing we're going to do is we'll enter find mode. And we don't need to pause. And then we're going to fill in the last name field. So we're going to set the field. And the target field that we're going to set is the last name. And the calculated result is going to be $, last. I wonder if did I do a capital? I suppose I could look. I did a capital. Okay, because see, it's right here. This is what I'm doing right there. Now it becomes interesting, because now what if you have more than one Smith? What if you have more than one person, right? So the autofill data, last name, and it fills it, and then it'll perform a find, right? So then we tell it to perform the find. Perform the find. And now what we need to do is if there's more than one, so now we need an if statement. If, and this is where this comes in, if, and well, actually what we need to do is we type not, and then we're going to type in is empty, and the field will be multiplier. If it is not empty, if it's full, then what we want to do is we want to open a window. So we can go into Windows, and we can, I think it's new window. For some odd reason I thought it was a open window. But let's see if I type in open. It's been a while since I've actually used it, so we'll just go with new window. Oh, that's kind of weird. This one, delete it. New window style document. Now, what we can do with this is we can change the window name and all the stuff inside of the window and create what we want, basically. So we're going to name the window data, and the height of the window is 900. Width of the window is 900. Distance from the top, we don't really care. Specify advanced style. Context and runtime. I can't remember what I'm doing, but that should do it. Open new window, and then we need to pause the script or halt the script at this point. Halt script. And we're going to put it above our end if. And what that does is if you have stuff that's open, blah, 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 it does all that stuff. So then after the end if statement, so if it's not empty, so if it's like a different one, then blah, blah, blah. So here we're enter the find mode, we set the field, auto name last, and now what we need to do is we need to come back up here and we need to start setting the variables. So we'll set variables, and there's a bunch of them. So there's the city, the state, the zip code, phone number, which I forgot to put on there somewhere because I don't remember putting phone numbers in anywhere for anybody. But so I just added a bunch of them. So do you, Tom, yeah, Tome, do you the show called The Flash? Oh, I did watch The Flash. Yeah, sounds like my cat data on data. Yeah, I totally agree with that. So the variables that we're going to set is we now need to set the first name. So we're just going to type in first, no caps. We'll specify the field. It'll be the first name. Okay. Specify this one will be the address. And we're going to specify as the address. Okay. This one will be the city. And obviously I'm just doing this as fast and as furious as I possibly can. The city. And this one would be the state. And obviously we'll need another variable, and that variable will be the zip code. The zip. And we'll specify that as the zip. Okay. And so now what we need to do is we can also set the ID number if you wanted to. And I can show you how to do things like for your notes. You can actually set up a portal window for your notes and keep them in a related file. And so then you'll just have notes after notes after notes after notes, and you can just scroll through all the notes that you want, and there'll be individual notes for those people that you have, that you're keeping track of, or that you're trying to monitor, or whatever the case is possibly for. But this is just kind of as an autofill. I killed a roach, now it's stuck on my wall. Oh, cool. Stuck on the wall. And then what you need to do after this is you need to go, we need to go back to, so we'll just say go to layout, and it'll be the original layout that you were in. And then you need to set fields. So, and you're going to need as many fields as you just got variables for. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll set a field, set a field, set a field, set a field, set a field. In this field, we're going to specify as the first name, and the calculated result will be, let's see, what did I do? $sign first. $sign first. Click off. Specify the field. And it's going to be the address. And this one's going to be $sign address. Oops, address. And it has to be the same. You guys, I can't stress that enough, that has to be the $sign in the exact way that you typed it, otherwise it won't do it. And the, let's see, so we have $sign address, city, state, and zip. Okay. City. And as this is a live stream, you guys kind of get the whole thing. There is no pauses and they're fast forwards, so. $state. And this one would be the zip. Oop. $zip. Now this is how you can create a myriad, and then obviously you want to halt the script. So now that we've created that, now what happens is that we've set a trip trigger. Your friend is giving you a code for the Call of Duty World War II beta. Wow, sweet. That's going to be exciting. I'm so looking forward to that. So now if we exit the layout and we go to like new record, and we type in, we come over here, cancel. Did you notice how it messed that up? Because it was on the enter. So we're going to edit the layout, and the script triggers, and instead of doing on object enter, we'll do it on object exit. I just wanted to show you guys how this thing works. Autofill. All right, but remember, you have to go back up here on object enter, and you have to unselect it, because otherwise it's just going to continue to select it. So now we're going to exit the layout. We're going to come up here, and we're going to pick Smith. Well, what it does is it's instantaneously going to open a new window, and all of the Smiths will be listed here on in this window. And if you open it, you can actually, what you can do with this, I'm moving everything, not what I meant to do. What you can actually do with this is you should be able to press select this individual, and what it will do is it'll go back into the script and take all that data and put it in. So what you'd have to do is rewrite a new script, which would be almost identical to the script that you just wrote with all of that stuff. So the best thing to do would be just copy that script and then just get rid of that if statement in there, and then you would get all of this data, and then it would go automatically into the other your other window. So, but this time I do not want to do that. So what I want to do is I want to go to, I don't know why it stopped me on that particular deal. So we're going to, and we'll go to new record, and in this case I'm going to pick Johnson. And now there's Johnson. I don't know why is it not filling the data, because it should have returned me. My friend is probably going to call me dumb. You know what I mean, because I didn't sleep, because he's taking me because he was talking to me into going to sleep. Aha. So right there we're having this slight issue, and the issue is that it's not going back to the original. It's going to this deal, but it's not going back to the original layout. So we need to edit that script and find out what's going on. And so here's our autofill script. So the first thing we do is we set a date, and then we're gonna go to the data script, enter the find mode. We're gonna set the field, perform the find, and then if not is empty, we're gonna set all and then we're gonna go back to the original layout. Let's just tell it what layout we want it to go to. Autofill. Now you can do this you should be able to do this in related fields. You should be able to do this with all of the fields being the same fields. You can also do this just simply by recalling. You can make it very easy. If the fields are unrelated, it's easy. It's better to do it with a script, just like we just saw, just the script that I actually just did. And if it is a related field, you can recall the ID number. And the ID number will just bring up the ID of the individual, and all of this stuff will happen just automatically. But this is, I'm showing you several different ways to do this. So Control S, we're going to save it. And then it's going to say, okay, fill all the data, blah, blah, blah. So we'll close that out. We'll go exit the layout, go back to our autofill. And so there is our Johnson. I'm going to select Henry. It brought up this. Close it. Am I got like 50 windows open or what? Nope. Still just the one. Okay, so maybe what we should do is let's go back to our autofill. Let's go to the, let's edit the layout. Let's do this. Let's go to data. And the field picker, I'm going to put the ID number in here. Make this just a little bit smaller. That should work. Put our button over there. Now what we should be able to do is we should be able to say, if we go into, let's go back to our autofill. And then let's do this. Let's go here. We'll set a script trigger, and we're going to get rid of on object. We're going to select a different one. So we're going to add new script, and we're going to call this ID Finder. And so the very first thing we'll do is, as always, freeze window. Set variable. Variable will be that last name. And then it will basically be the exact same thing, except for in auto-filling the data. And actually, we can modify, if we really wanted to, we can modify. Now, I haven't ever done this in related fields before. I've always done this in unrelated fields. So my data will all be on an unrelated field, and I'm calling it to a different field or a different layout. And I like doing that. I like keeping that data separate so that I'm creating data and I'm saving data. And those datas are very separate from each other, and I don't have to worry about them crossing over or being changed in any way. But that being said, let's just go through doing a quick, what we can do is we can do the last name. I'm not even going to do caps. So we'll just do last, and we're going to specify last name. Okay. And then we're going to perform a find of that last name. Or, well, actually, I like to do the enter find mode. I just like doing the enter find mode. Doesn't have to pause. And then you can find the data that you want and go forward from there. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a window, like oh, how can I explain it? I know you guys are probably pretty confused because it's very confusing. When you're autofilling data, you have to be able to have the data. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to say, okay, on object exit, when I leave, I need to be able to go get that information from somewhere, come back, and put that data in my system, in where I want it to be, and fill it out. And that was kind of the entire point. For some odd reason, I think it's because the fields or the datas are related to each other, and that's the reason why it's having an issue. It's because it's like, well, look, you've already had the data. Here it is, blah, blah, blah. So I think that's the issue. So maybe what we should do is we should create, let's just cancel this. Don't save it. And the new script, we'll just delete it. Permanently delete one script, delete. Okay. What we can do now is let's cancel, 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 cancel. Let's manage our database. And then the autofill data center, or the fields, we can go into the tables, and we can copy this field, copy, and paste. And it's called Autofill 2. So now they're unrelated fields. So if we go into relationships, you have autofills, and there's no relationship between them. And now if we go in and we manage our script, we can say go to freeze window, set variable, go to layout, data autofill. We don't have it. We actually don't have that. So we're going to have to create a new layout on show records from autofill 2. And we're just going to call this data, same as the other one. Computer, list, finish. We'll just create all that stuff. And then, so the field pickers, I believe all of the information is still going to be in here. ID, last name, first name, address, state, city, zip code, multiplier, all that neat stuff. So and obviously you have to put it all on a line. And all those have to be adjusted. So you guys get stuck with this, and the multiplier. Once you get your first credit card, you're going to do what? First credit card, I'm going to donate some money to you. Oh, why, thank you very much. I back, I was talking to my mom. Okay. It's always good to talk to mom. I like talking to mom too. And then zip code. Okay. And multiplier. We always got to put the multiplier in there. And you will want to put the button in here too. So we're going to do this unrelated field. This whole unrelated field thing. And that should be good. And if we exit the layout and we create a new record 7. So this one, dang it. Well, we put all the information in the one. So what we may have to do is we may have to do a new I'm thinking. My brain cell is just flying through this stuff. Let's do edit layout, new layout, because this is not going to work for us. Autofill 2, we'll call this autofill computer, and you can do the form view. You can do any view that you want to. and finish. And now what we're going to do is we're going to recreate that thing that we created before with the field picker. So here we've got the ID number. Of course, what we should be doing is we should be putting labels on this stuff so we know what we're doing. Last name. I personally myself like to add my own labels in instead of having labels put in for me. But because of time constraints, we're just going to do it just like this because we can. Move the field picker over here. Put the zip code. Okay. So I think that's all the stuff that we actually needed to have. First name, last name, address, state, blah, blah, blah. We forgot to put the phone number in there for some odd reason, but you can add the phone number in there at your own risk. And then if we exit the layout and we click this and we, wait. We need to, what do we need to do? We need to click this. And it needs to be a control or drop down list so we have the values. And we're just going to create this one from a specific field. Okay. And now we need to add a conditional formatting or set a script trigger on object exit, autofill. But we now need to manage our script because now our script is going to be different. So freeze the window, set the variable, go to layout, data autofill, which is the other one, because remember now we're different. Enter the find mode, set the autofill last name, perform find if not is empty, blah blah blah. Set all of the variables, and then we need to go to the layout, and this layout is called this layout is actually called autofill as well. Original layout, and we'll control S, and then all of these fields are going to be different fields. Set field, specify target field. This is going to be an autofill 2, and so this is going to be first name autofill 2. Specify autofill 2. So we're just going to make these real quick changes, and then we'll see how this works. Oop. All you got to do is just change it from 1 to 2. That's like no big deal. And so now it will fill everything in. I think that'll work. Let's give it a quick shot. Save all. All right. Now if we exit the layout and we come over here and we pick Henry, let's modify the find criteria. No, let's cancel. Script paused. So there's actually 2 Henrys. That's the reason why it said, no, I'm sorry, we can't do that, because there's 2 of them and not just 1 of them. So there's too much information. So let's go back to our, and this is where we would actually be able to just select one or the other when we turn the select button on. We're just going to take that data and put it on the unrelated field. So let's just go back to the, because this needs to have a control or a X in it, doesn't it? Autofill 2. Ta-da, look at that. So if we go, what is that? Where am I at? I seem to be lost. Autofill under autofill 2. Johnson. Continue. What in the heck? Autofill. So must be, I'm gonna have to edit that, manage that script. There's something in the script that I messed up. If we go to data, freeze window, set variable. Well, this is our biggest problem right there, is the variable is the wrong variable. And it's gonna be, because it's autofill 2 last name. There's one of our problems right there. And then we're going to go to the layout, data, autofill. Apparently I had my sound on, so I'm going to turn it off. Okay. Then we'll enter the find mode, set the field, autofill last script, da da da. Okay, so that should work. So we'll Control S that, save it, we'll close it. Now let's see what happens if we exit this layout and we select Johnson. Henry. And now it's going to open the window for this. So we could actually, because there's 2 different Henrys, we could select one of the 2 Henrys and then continue on with the list. Right now we need to close it. So what we need to do is we need to go back to our original autofill and we need to put in a new record, and let's put in, the last name is going to be Targo. First name, cancel. Edit the layout, because we've got to take this stupid script trigger off of here. We can't have the script trigger on there. Okay, exit the layout. So Targo, and then his first name will be Daryl. His address will be 167 3rd Street, Noob, Wyoming, and the zip code will be 12345. New record. Okay. Now if we go to our autofill 2, which I don't know why it's still called autofill, and we select Targo, because he's the only one, it'll automatically fill all the data in. Did you just see that? Automatically filled it all in. So that's what we can do. Unrelated fields. Remember, unrelated fields, don't relate them to, because we made that error, because it's wise to show you guys me making mistakes. I get a lot of people say, oh, you made all kinds of mistakes. Well, yeah, I made all kinds of mistakes. I like to make those mistakes so that you guys can see what happens when mistakes are made, and how they react, and why it is frustrating sometimes. If you don't know what will happen, then you don't know how it happens. And so this is a great way of actually putting the entire, I was just trying to see if out there and said anything else to me. A great way of putting your system together so that you can autofill data and just bring it from a different source. The only thing that we didn't do on this was to set that the select button. And the select button is if you guys are this far into the system and you know what I just did and how I just did it, you'll very easily be able to get your select button set up. And it's just basically saying if there's more than one. If you perform the find and there's more than one. And in order to do that, you have to set, you can do either a conditional format, which will automatically set your multiplier button, or you can just put an X in the multiplier, or a 1 or a 0 or whatever you want to in the multiplier button. And then that way, every time that there's more than one, it will automatically ask you which one do you want, and then you just and all it will show you is those two. As you saw, like if I went in and I said, okay, I want a new record and I am going to select Smith, what it brings me is all of the Smiths in the new window. There's a lot of these new Smiths. And then all I would have to do is, if I was on a tablet, I'd just swipe it to the side and then hit the select button. I don't have enough time today to show you the script for the select button because I'm talking way too much and my phone is going crazy. I have like a bazillion things to do. But stay tuned next time. Next week I will do another video. I will show you how to do the select button. If you really want to know how to do the select button, just let me know and I'll do it. But autofill data is such a very, very simple thing to do. You can either do it with conditional formatting, you can do it with script triggers, you can do it with scripts, scripting, drop-down windows. Autofilling data is so easy to do, even for like zip codes. And if you wanted to, you could put like a map on there and you could break it into different sections, and you could, you know, it's amazing. You can bring data from anywhere as long as it's not related. If you relate those fields, then what happens is if you make a change on one, you then make a change on the other because they're both related to each other. And so that's the reason why I started off with the two related. I tried it all under one roof, and as you can see, it just confused the system. The system just went, what? What are we talking about? What do you want us to do? Here we are. You want us to take data from this field and put it on the exact same field. It doesn't make any sense, and obviously it doesn't make any sense. So you have to have unrelated fields to work it and to make it function. You can have related fields if they're different names. Like if you had last name 1 and last name 2, last name 4, whatever the case is. And remember, when you're doing this, you're going to be building records every time you do it. So even with this selection, what's going to end up happening is I'm going to have, right now you see I have 2 records in this field, but the more that I add into it, the more records I'm going to create. So the best solution would be to put in an actual, just create a record for an individual. You can just create like, this is his last name, this is his first name, this is all his information, this is all of his data, blah, 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 and use fields for that. And then have a search field that you've created. So if you're looking for a customer, you're looking for somebody in your field, all you have to do is type in the last name, which would be the thing that we're doing right now, is put the last name in, select, it would go to the window, select that person, and create a new record, or you could perform the find and then just stay on that record, if that makes absolutely any sense. But hey, thanks for joining me, everybody. I kind of got a cough today, a little something in my throat. Hopefully I'm not coming down sick because I have another stream to do later today. So we will see you guys on the next stream. Thanks for joining me. I really appreciate you guys being here. I will see you guys next week. I'm sure I will see you next week. I'm sorry it takes me so long to do some of these, but I do have so many other things I'm doing at the same time as well, because I also we do Luculent Media, which you'll see here in just a second.